Hello everyone, this is a message to anybody who lives in a Western country and who does not know anything about Islam. I urge everybody to learn about Islam. A lot of people are burning the Quran. My opinion is don't burn it, read it. Read what it says, read the Islamic sources if you can. And it's going to be what's going to determine if the Western world will survive or not. So I believe the two biggest threats are socialism and its resurgence under this new banner of postmodernism, and Islam. They're both knocking at our door right now. What the socialists don't really realize is that Islam is kind of using them right now. They're like the useful idiots. They're like those kind of dumb people in the classroom who are just there and they're being manipulated by all the bullies. So Islam is the bully. And I really need anybody who takes freedom of thought, freedom of religion, and freedom of, free markets. Anybody who takes those concepts seriously, which is the concepts we have inherited through the Enlightenment, I urge you to please read the Quranic sources, the Islamic sources. So I'm going to break it down for you really quickly here, and I'm going to make a series of videos that show what are the problems with Islam, why it can't work, why it's a threat. But for the purpose of this video alone, I'm just going to break it down for you so everybody can understand the very basic terminology of Islam, and it's going to be really quick. So here goes. The doctrine of Islam is all-encompassing of your life. So if you're Muslim, you do not have the right to pick and choose what you want. You have to accept everything that Islam gives to you. So that means that you have to follow the Islamic books. There is the Quran, which is their main source. The Quran is the words of Allah given to Muhammad. So anytime you read the Quran, you have to realize that those are, every time Allah talked to Muhammad, that's what's in the Quran. Those are the words of Allah. So there's no opinion from anybody. There's no narration. Like, it's really just, this is the words that God said. And this is pretty much why the Quran is the most read book. Now, there are some supporting documents because the Quran is a little messy when you read it. It's not chronological. A lot of the stuff repeats itself throughout the book. There's no context, so even some of the 5 pillars of Islam are not even found in the Quran, so it makes it really hard. And without that context, it's a very tough document to understand on its own. So this is where there are some supporting documents in the Islamic world, and it's called the Sunna of Mohammed. So the Sunna of Mohammed contains the 2 other documents, and those are the Sirah of Muhammad, which is basically his biography. So there's a bunch of people just got together, wrote a biography, and this is kind of what he did. And then there's the Hadith, and that is what Muhammad said or how he lived out his life. So you refer to all 3 of those documents. So it's basically a bit of a trilogy. So you have the Quran, you have the Sirah, you have the Hadith. And when you hear people talking about the Sunnah of Muhammad, that is his biography, the Sirah, and the Hadith all combined. Now, some of the Hadiths are considered to be serious. Some of them are not considered to be that serious at all. So when you hear Muslims talk about this is Sahih, that means it's authentic and it's a fully recognized hadith. So Sahih Muslim, Sahih Bukhari, those are the 2 most quoted hadiths you can read. The hadiths are broken down in volumes, so they have so many volumes. It's just insane, and this is why it takes people like 20 years to become scholars in Islam, because they have to read all of it. I completely understand that we don't have time to read all of that. And this is why there have been some really cool people out there that have been doing some shortened up versions for us that just explain the basics of it. Now, one of the biggest, most important one is by Dr. Bill Warner, and he's just really broken down. He's taken out all the fluff, all the times it's repeated, and he's broken it down into these very manageable pieces that you can read. So if you don't have time to read all of the actual sources, this is a very good secondary option for us non-Muslims to understand. Now, You have to learn about Islam, or at least the very basics of Islam, because Islam wants to take over. It's not here to assimilate. It's not here to try and coexist. It is here to dominate. And as soon as the Muslim population reaches a certain percentage of the total population, they start requesting more and more and more. And this is how they have been able to take over certain countries. They've done it by force, but in America, they are doing it by they call it by our own hand, so by subverting us, by actually doing, making more and more demands on our societies, and slowly these demands will become bigger and bigger, and eventually the population will become big enough that they will be able to take over. So anyway, it's very important that we read it, because we need to stop Islam where we can, from the ideology entering our country. I'm not talking about stopping all Muslims. Hi, Jamie. 1 second, baby. Mama's almost done.
Can I leave you, Mom?
Yes, you can have one.
Okay, but I don't know where they are.
Oh, I'm gonna have to come look with you then. You go downstairs and see if you can look in the main drawer, and if there's no more, Mommy will get you some from the basement, okay?
Okay.
Thank you, honey.
In the main drawer, I saw, I already moved.
Sorry about that, guys. You just missed a very fascinating conversation about different types of granola bar that my son brought up. So anyways, you have to forgive me. I don't have very good editing skills, nor do I have the time to constantly edit these videos. So this is why sometimes you get live interruptions. So anyways, I really apologize for that. But let me just get back on track with this whole Islam video. So we have to pay attention in the West because Islam is coming. And what we have to do is learn about it, so that when Muslims make certain demands that go against our own society, we know why they're making those demands, and it's part of a bigger picture of trying to impose Islam and Islamic law onto us. And that way we'll at least be able to fight back in a very peaceful way, in a way that's an intellectual way of opposing an ideology, rather than just the like brute force, like attacking people. So I'm completely against trying to attack Muslims. Don't go and attack Muslims, because not all Muslims are following the Quran. A lot of the Muslims that we have here don't even know about it, that they just are Muslim in name because their families are Muslim, and once a Muslim, always a Muslim, right? So I don't really think that they specifically know the dangers within their own doctrine. So anyways, the whole goal of this video is that we all need to learn about it. Subscribe to my channel if you're interested in this, because I'm going to keep reporting on this. I'm doing a series of videos that is pointing out the actual application of these Islamic demands on our society. So I did one about that woman that has her own car driving school because she can't be sitting next to male that are not relatives of hers in cars. That's why she had to create her all-female school. So these are the kinds of things that will slowly erode away at our society and prevent us from being the free-thinking Western world that we are. And we need to make sure that we can stop it. And again, stop it in a non-violent way. We need to refute ideology with ideology. I'm putting forward the Western ideology of separation of state and church, separation of, the one law for all, and Muslims don't get special treatment under our law, but under Islamic law they do, and we don't. So anyways, this is why we need to keep actively looking and learning about what Islam is, because at this point we have no other choice. And trust me, I don't want to learn about it. I don't care. I mean, I do now, but before I didn't care when it wasn't impacting us. But now we're at the point where if we don't learn about this, it will be our fault if we fall. It's not going to be Islam. Islam is going to do what it does, and it's going to try to take over. It's up to us to learn about it and fight back. So there we go, guys. Please subscribe to the channel, and I will keep bringing you these videos so that we can all get a better understanding of what's happening around us in our society. Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your day.